Hello there everybody, welcome back to the Collector Set. Today we are taking a look at a Max Factory Figma of Motoko Kusanagi, or the Major from Ghost in the Shell. This is her standalone complex outfit or look. I'm not going to say that I'm a huge Ghost in the Shell fan. When I was a kid, I watched the movie and I can remember not being super impressed by it. I kind of thought it was maybe trying too hard, or maybe I felt it was overrated. Let's put it that way. But I have had a couple of opportunities to rewatch it over the years, and I think in my most recent rewatch from maybe 3 or 4 years ago, I've come to appreciate it more. I'm still not going to say I'm like a massive fan of it, but I do think it is a good movie. I do understand that it's a kind of a hallmark in anime or Japanese cartoons and the cyberpunk genre, so I get it. And it's nothing I dislike. I have to admit I haven't seen much of the subsequent series that were made. I've seen a little bit of the standalone complex. My brother used to watch it. I would catch little bits of it here and there, but nothing I actually kind of sought after or pursued. All that being said, with a lot of things, a cool action figure is a cool action figure, and I'm going to pick it up regardless, so it doesn't really matter if it's something I'm super into. If it's something I'm not against and the figure looks cool, I'm probably going to grab it. And that's the case here. So this design, minus the ultra low rise pants, which seems a little bit impractical if you are a person in any kind of, intelligence, policing, whatever type of business that you're doing. I do like the design of this. I love that, kind of short jacket and that nice purple color. It's just a sharp looking character, and so I did go ahead and pick this one up for those reasons. And stated straight away here, I'm pretty impressed with this figure. I like it a lot. It checks all the boxes, it meets all the requirements. What I was expecting of it is exactly what I got, and I was expecting good things from it, so there you have it. So first off, just taking a look at the figure kind of all around. As I've stated, I'm a fan of the design, and I think it's translated well here. One thing I do like about the import figures is the pretty much straightforward paint that they do on these. There's not a lot in the way of, washes or texturing or things like that are done with that. That makes sense when the character is coming from like an animated show, for starters. But then also it gives them a more neutral look, and I'm kind of a fan of a more neutral look. At any point in time, the character appears clean in a film or whatever media they're coming from. I kind of would prefer them that way. I don't need mud on the boots or anything like that necessarily. So it can work for some characters. Some characters are going to be grimier or grungier, and you want them to look that way. For me, for the majority of characters, if it comes with, just like the right colors for what it's supposed to be, then I'm kind of good with it. So I know for some people, they kind of prefer more in the way of washes and details and highlights and things like that in the paint. But to me, I feel obviously that's going to save on issues with paint jobs on figures. If it's molded in the colored plastic, then that's better, and if there's not a ton of paint, there's less opportunities for mistakes. So that's just my personal opinion in regards to paint on figures. The paints here are nice and vibrant. They look good. They match the character. They're as accurate as I can remember. I'm sure someone else with some deeper knowledge of the series, the character, etc. might have something they could point out, but nothing that bothers me here. Articulation is what you would expect. This is a Figma. You know what you're getting with this. The joints don't have any kind of pins poking out anywhere. They move smoothly and they hold pretty well. This one's no exception. We'll look a little bit closer at the articulation shortly here. So everything about this is pretty much your standard Figma. It just comes down to this particular character and the look and how you like the design or whatever. So yeah, no complaints or quibbles there. Overall, I think it's just a real good look for the figure. You can tell straight away who it is. Like I said, being a person with limited experience with Ghost in the Shell, being a fan of, there's no mistaking who this character is. I don't think there's, especially with animated characters, it's easier, I think, to nail the look. You don't have like an actor's likeness that you would have to try and kind of meet or match with this type of figure. So as far as design wise, the look of the figure, everything's top marks for me here. Taking a look at the articulation, again, like I said, it's what you would expect. With a Figma, you're going to get a decent range. Definitely the articulation scheme is going to be, I think, different if you're used to Marvel Legends or, I don't know, McFarlane Toys or something like that. Every company has different ways that they engineer the figures, and generally, once you've kind of tweaked into that, you know what you're getting. I do have several other Figmas from Max Factory, so no real surprises here. The range of motion for the most part is decent, and you can get her into most of the poses you will want. You can get her into plenty of decent action poses, which of course for an action type character is going to make sense. I don't feel that the figure is limited in any real significant way. I think all the motion is really good. The joints are not ugly or obtrusive. I think they all work real well. I do like that they match the joint colors on the knees to the patch or the padding she has on the one side, and then just the regular pants on the other. You know, sometimes that's things you'll see that are neglected on other figures, and I think that it's great that they match that to give that consistent look when you're moving it. But otherwise, like I said, it does what you would expect. It moves well, poses up well. Probably won't see anything too daring in this video as far as posing goes. All around, goodness here. And just briefly touching on, again, the look here, the figure, the paint. Like I said, there's not a lot in the way of paint. There's not any issues really either. There's a couple of spots where it's not perfect. For the most part, everything's pretty sharp and clean. I do like the touches everywhere, like the inside of the jacket is nice and clean with that orange color contrasting. There's a print on the back of the neck, which looks great, you know, so it's kind of back there, you see it. You notice it more with the shirt look when you take off the jacket. We'll look at that a little bit. The only thing I would complain about is the peg hole for the stand. There's no paint on the inside of it, so you can just see the flesh tone that the plastic was cast in, and that's kind of glaring if you have any kind of pose where you're looking at the figure from the back. But otherwise, everything else I think looks sharp. I wish they had just thrown in a bit of paint into that hole there. It does have an alternate upper torso. Like I said, some of the paint's not great on like those armbands there, and a little bit on that brown part of the jacket. But again, you can get a better look at that print on the back of the neck. For the most part, everything's pretty clean, pretty sharp, and there's nothing out of the way or ugly as far as any kind of paint mistakes. Getting into the accessories here, so some of this at this stage you will have seen by now with what we've shown so already on the video here. You can see first and foremost we've got the exchangeable upper torso. There are a couple of tiny pieces for the arms that poke out from the sleeves that you'll want to be careful of when you're taking those out or removing those to put on the jacketless look. She's got a couple of different faces, and again, those swap out just as you would expect on the Figmas. That front part of the hair comes off, and then you are able to put on the different face plates. Expressions seem appropriate. You've got just kind of a standard bemused look, side-eyed look, and then of course an angrier face for some of those other action poses. The hands, plenty of hands, and one thing that's always great that the Max Factory figures seem to come with is this little organizer, which is good for keeping track of these hands for one thing, but then also it's got those pegs that they poke on, so that keeps the hands, the holes in those from shrinking up or making them difficult to poke on. Nice appropriate set of hands. A couple of different hands for the guns. 2 for holding the pistol two-handed, and then 2 for holding the machine gun. And I think that's a pretty nice touch. Of course, you do have the machine gun here. So nicely detailed. The sculpt work is nice. There's nothing crazy in the way of paint. And again, I kind of like things that are plainer like that. Same thing with the pistol here. Nice, well designed. It looks like equipment from the show. Again, I'm sure these are accurate. Somebody else can probably set me straight if they aren't. You do get a stand as well. And obviously for some of your more thrilling action poses, that's going to help you accomplish those. I kind of like that the Figma stands plug in to the figure. I think that's kind of a nicer look than having the stands grip the waist. But it does come with the complication of you do have to have a peg hole in the figure. And then with this figure in particular, as you can see, with it lacking that paint, that can be kind of goofy looking depending on how you have it posed or positioned. Most of the time you're going to be looking at it from the front anyway, so it's not a huge problem. I know plenty of you like to see comparisons for judging size, so here are some size comparisons. Not sure if I've picked the best array of figures. I've only picked a few here to show her with. Here I've got her with the Obsidian Man, one of the Fun Man figures from Damn Toys, and then the SH Figure Arts Black Widow, as portrayed by Scarlett Johansson, an actor who I don't think really has any real connection to the Ghost in the Shell franchise in any way, shape, or form. And just so you can get an idea of comparison to a very different type of figure is the movie Black Widow from Marvel Legends. So you can see the difference in size there, but you can see how she kind of ranks against a couple of different types of 6-inch scale figures. So obviously there's always going to be that kind of level of variety. Marvel Legends figures are a little bit bigger. The import figures are all kind of a little bit smaller, but you see how it kind of lines up on the shelves. So how I have my shelves organized, she'll be posed up with other import figures, so nothing's going to look real out of place. Yeah, and again, just all around a great figure. I like it. I don't have any complaints about it, really. Like I said, you've got that one bit with the peg hole in the back, but that's about the only thing. And that really isn't, like I said, that much of a complication given how most likely she's going to be displayed facing forward. So yeah, another great figure, another one I'm happy to have on the shelves. Thumbs up for me.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to like this video if you enjoyed it. Subscribe to our channel for more exciting clothing